gear that is not valued highly enough. That's right, the most underrated gear in backpacking. All right, gear item number one that is super underrated is a sun hoodie, like what I'm wearing here. But for years and years, I hiked exclusively in a cotton blend t-shirt. Now, cotton never actually killed me, but it absolutely wasn't awesome on hot summer days or very smart for me to be wearing on cold weather trips. So a few years ago, I started wearing a sun hoodie, and let me tell you, my comfort out on the trail has increased so much because I'm using a piece of apparel that's designed for hiking. Now, the sun hoodie is a lightweight and 100% polyester piece of apparel, so it doesn't stretch all weird when it gets wet from sweat, and it dries super fast. It's also long sleeved and has a hood, which has always been something that I thought would make me hotter when I'm out in the sun, but it actually makes it cooler when I'm out hiking in the sun because it keeps the hot sun off of my arms and my neck and my ears. So if you're not wearing a sun hoodie when you're out hiking, just do it. Number two is a GPS watch like this Garmin Fenix. Now, maybe I'm a little weird, but I find having information available to me as I'm hiking to be super helpful in knowing where I'm at for the day and how my body is doing. Now, there's a lot of functions of smartwatches like this one that can provide a ton of info, but for me, here's what I like to get from my watch when I'm out hiking. So I'll start a new hike or a new activity on my watch, and on one screen, I get the current time, my moving time, my heart rate, the average moving pace, the current pace, and my distance traveled. And the other data that I like to see on another screen is the gain and loss of elevation for the day. And if I happen to be going over any high elevation passes, I can use the barometer that is built into the watch to help me follow pressure changes so I can pay attention to storms that might be moving in when I'm out on those passes. I know, super nerdy stuff. Item number three is a windbreaker. Now, in some cases, a rain jacket can be absolute overkill. And here in the West, you can go weeks and weeks without seeing rain. So I don't actually carry a rain jacket on every single trip that I go on. But what I have found to be super helpful in a lot of cases is to bring a wind jacket like this one here, which is the Nebo windbreaker from Outdoor Vitals. Now, what I have loved about a jacket like this is one, how light and compact it is, but two, how functional it's been as an additional layer. I can add this layer to my mid layer without overheating myself, but it can be just enough extra warmth to keep me comfortable while I'm out on the trail. It also can function in a light drizzle. So if I do get caught in rain, it's gonna work for a little bit because it's got a DWR treatment on it. And when it gets windy, it protects you from the wind, which can just pull all kinds of warmth away from your body. So I've been finding this to be way more functional than a rain jacket on most of the trips that I go on. Okay, a quick sidebar here to talk about BetterHelp, who is sponsoring this video. I'm talking about BetterHelp in this video because I genuinely feel like therapy is underrated. Now, I avoided therapy in my personal life for a very long time. And it's not that I necessarily had anything bad or crazy happening in my life, but sometimes just being an adult is hard, you know? So just like being outside with my thoughts helps me reset my mind, seeing a therapist has given me so many tools to help me take better care of myself and just be a happier person. So BetterHelp gives you access to a licensed therapist that's matched to you, and you can meet with them by phone, video call, or even text message. And if the therapist that you match with just isn't working out, you can change your therapist for free at any time. It has genuinely been a huge help for me in my life and for my family. I've got a link down in the video description where you can get 10% off of your first month with BetterHelp. And I just want to thank BetterHelp for sponsoring and supporting the channel here today. All right, so number 4 is a personal ground sheet like this one here. Now, this is super easy. Having a small piece of waterproof fabric for you to sit on when you stop for a lunch break is super handy in keeping your butt dry and clean when you stop. You can also use it to put your gear on outside of your tent in the vestibule to, again, keep your gear clean and dry. Now, the simple solution here is a small piece of Tyvek or plastic, but I personally have loved this small ground sheet from Hilltop Packs because you can print a sweet, turn it the right way, a sweet photo that you've taken onto this and have it as your personal doormat outside of your tent. All right, so number 5 here is a backpacking pillow. I mean, come on, it's 2023. Why are you still using your stuff sack with your extra clothing in it to use as a pillow? You need to be using a backpacking pillow like this because you are missing out on getting really good sleep on the trail. Now I get it, a lot of pillows are inflatable and it can feel like you are sleeping on a balloon. But for a few extra ounces, I am a huge fan of this pillow, which is the Nemo Pillow. And it is an excellent option because it's got a piece of memory foam in it that is as close to sleeping on my pillow at home as I have had in the backcountry. All right, so number 6 is sunglasses. Now you guys see me wear sunglasses a lot, and I am personally a fan of wearing polarized sunglasses because I'm often walking in rivers and streams, and I find that the polarization helps me see so much better when I'm in the water. But I'm also wearing prescription sunglasses because I need to be able to see when I'm out, and I don't want to be wearing contacts when I'm out. So it's really just an important thing to take care of your eyes from the bright sun. And it's actually one of the most common comments that I get from students when I'm out working as a guide, saying that they are so glad that I suggested that they wear sunglasses. So super underrated, but very, very helpful. And number 7, getting down to the wire, is camp shoes. Now this isn't a piece of gear that I take with me on every single trip I go on, but I will often carry a second pair of shoes or sandals to change into when I get camp set up so that I can get out of wet socks and shoes for the day. It's really just so nice to put something on that is a little more comfortable after you've been hiking and just really had a hard day of hiking and your feet are tired. Number 8 is a neck gaiter or a handkerchief. There are so many different uses for a handkerchief or a neck gaiter like this. So what I'll use a neck gaiter for is just being a touch warmer on cold mornings, to go around my neck, to use as a beanie, but I've also used it to wipe down condensation inside of my tent, or even as a pot grabber to handle a hot pot when I'm cooking for the day. And number 9 is a 10 essential item, and that is a knife. So I often see people choose to leave a knife behind in their gear loadouts for backpacking, which does not make sense to me. A knife is obviously an excellent emergency tool that can help you light fires by cutting feather sticks or even striking a ferro rod. But even just simple camp tasks like cutting cordage, lifting a pot of water off a hot fire or a stove, or cutting moleskin for a blister from your first aid kit, and even fun stuff around camp like whittling a stick. A knife is just so smart to take with you on your backpacking trips. Now, my favorite lightweight knife to take with me is this, the Benchmade Mini Bug Out, or for a fixed blade option, I love this knife here from Giant Mouse Knives, which is the GMF2. But honestly, any knife will do, and you should be carrying a knife out on your backpacking trips. And then for our number 10 is a good first aid kit and blister kit, but also adding first aid education to that. Now, I'm of the opinion that if you spend any time playing outside, you ought to have some kind of basic first aid training so that you know how to better handle accidents that can happen in the backcountry. It's honestly not a matter of if, but when something happens, in which case having a first aid kit that you can actually use for first aid situations is just really smart to have. But additionally, if you spend a lot of time in the backcountry, my suggestion would be to take a wilderness first aid course so that you can learn, 1, the patient assessment system, and 2, just have the tools and knowledge to handle medical and first aid situations when you're in the backcountry. So I made a community tab post asking you guys to share with me what you thought was the most underrated gear items that you use for your backpacking. And there were a lot of good ideas and suggestions, but here's what stuck out to me the most. Now, the first one that I kind of expected was comments around a chair. Now, I at one point made a video talking about the most overrated gear items, and I found a lot of people saying that they felt that a chair was overrated, but I disagree. I personally carry a chair on every single trip that I go on, but I think depending on your personal hiking goals, you're either going to look at a chair as a must or a complete unnecessary item to take with you. The next one that stuck out to me that a few of you mentioned is a sweatband or some kind of a hat, which I completely agree with this one. I wear a hat on every single trip that I go on for a few different reasons. One is to keep the sweat off of my face, but also for some sun protection on hot sunny days like today. But if you aren't wearing a hat, I do think that something like a sweatband would be super helpful. Then lastly, chapstick. Pretend I have chapstick here. Man, I just agree with this one so much. When you're out hiking on a windy day, or it's cold, or you've been in the sun all day and your lips are just getting wrecked, it is so nice to have chapstick to help take care of your lips. So that's an absolute must. Thank you so much for taking the time to share all of those comments there. So let me know down in the comments if you agree or disagree with this list of underrated gear items. But thank you for watching today. Hope you guys have an awesome day. We'll catch you on the next one. See you later.